Hey everybody, Bat Tracy back again for another first time views and reviews. I haven't done this in a while. It's been a couple weeks since I've uploaded one. I think the last one was the My Little Pony. It's been a while since I've done this format with watching movies on DVD, Blu-ray. Been a while, but I got a ton of movies to review for you today, so stay tuned for that. Cue the music. Loop. I don't know if anyone's ever had this Rip It energy drink. It's probably the tastiest energy drink I've ever had, and it's only 99 cents. Well, let's get right into it. Today, folks, we got a bunch of movies. I'm Bat Tracy for Would You Spend a Day with Tim Allen, WYSADWTA, and here we go. Alright, first up, I got I Am Number 4. This is one Lex has been wanting me to check out for a really long time, and I remember the trailer for it, and I really wanted to see it when it came out. Finally got around to watching it, and didn't really like it. Didn't like it one bit. So basically this is about I think it's about 6 aliens who basically get sent to Earth, and they have these special abilities, and they're being hunted down by a government facility or something, and this is the main guy. He is number 4 of the 6, and I don't know, it's like a science fiction type action movie. It's produced by Michael Bay, and it's directed by DJ Caruso, who also did Disturbia, and he did something else pretty popular. It's slipping my mind. But yeah, I don't know what it was about this. I thought it was just terrible. It wasn't super bad, but it was pretty bad, I thought. It was really boring and really convoluted, and the plot didn't make sense. The action wasn't very good. Just, I don't know. I didn't like this movie very much. Don't know really what it was, but it just wasn't my type of movie. Did not like it. Yeah, I really don't have much to say about this one. Watched this a couple weeks ago now, so I don't really remember it a whole lot, but yeah, I don't know. It's really boring. He's like a high school kid, and before he finds out he has powers, and his dad's trying to protect him because he's an alien. I don't know. It's really just blah. Next up is a movie that I have seen before, but I've never been able to finish it, because I've never really enjoyed this movie. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start it, I'm gonna watch it to the end, and that was Your Highness with Danny McBride, James Franco, and Natalie Portman. It's directed by David Gordon Green, who's also directed Pineapple Express. He directed The Sitter. He also directed Prince Avalanche, which I think was in 1 or 2 back, the first time using reviews. But yeah, I don't know what it is about this movie. I've just never been a big fan of it. I really don't know. Really don't know. Just, it's got some funny parts, but nothing that really stands out to me. And I've never known what it is about this movie. I just never really enjoyed it. Just a really boring. It's not boring per se. It's supposed to be a fantasy type action comedy type thing, and it just never really stands up. It's not as good as Pineapple Express or The Sitter, I feel like. I think it's one of David Gordon Green's, lesser films. Which, yeah, I don't know about this one. So basically it's about these 2 brothers, James Franco and Danny McBride, and James Franco is getting married to a princess or something, and she gets kidnapped by this evil dude, and so they basically have to go on a quest to save her, and they meet up with Natalie Portman along the way. And I don't know. It's really just, it's out there. But I don't know. This is the one movie that I really want to like this movie. I really do. Because I love the cast. I love, everything about it. I can't get into this movie. And it makes me sad, because I really want to be able to like this. I just can't get into it for some reason. Oh well. Next up, gotta put the poster right here. Hotel Transylvania 2. Watch this one on Netflix. And you know what? I quite enjoyed this movie. I really loved the first Hotel Transylvania, but I didn't like 2 as much. I thought it was, pretty good, but it wasn't as good as the first. Basically, it takes place a couple years. So basically, it takes place a couple years after the first. Selena Gomez and Andy Samberg's characters, I can't remember their names, but I think maybe it's Maybe. That doesn't seem right. I don't know. I don't have the first ones. I can't check what their names are. But anyways, basically they have a baby, and Adam Sandler's Dracula is trying to prove that it's also a Dracula, and so he wants it to get its fangs and be able to turn into a bat and all this. The baby might be a human baby. They're not sure. So it's kind of like these shenanigans that they get into trying to basically get the baby its fangs, and he takes it, he tries to scare people, scare the fangs into him, like all this crazy stuff. And I don't know, it was a pretty enjoyable film. I actually really liked it. I really liked the first Hotel Transylvania, really liked this one, just not as much. But I thought this one was really well done, really did quite enjoy it. Not a whole lot to say about it though, because I mean, if you've seen the first Hotel Transylvania and you liked it, you'll definitely like the second one. I thought it was really well done. Really liked the way, I just really liked the voice acting too. Not a huge Selena Kyle fan, but I think she does pretty well in these movies. Andy Samberg's phenomenal. Adam Sandler's phenomenal. There's Kevin James, David Spade, all these different cast members doing voices in this movie. And it's great. It's basically like a live-action Adam Sandler movie in animated form. Even Dracula looks like Adam Sandler. It's just absolutely great. And I don't know, I really enjoy this movie. Next up, another Netflix movie I watched. Poster right here. This is a stand-up special, Jerry Before Seinfeld. And, I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. It's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Really like Jerry Seinfeld. Really like his stand-up. I think he's a really funny guy. Just kind of got a weird personality with the way he tells stand-up and tells jokes and stuff. But, I don't know, I thought this was a really funny comedy special. I'm not a person who typically watches a lot of, like, comedy stand-up specials. Comedy stand-up specials. But, I'm a really big fan of Jerry Seinfeld, so, I thought I'd check this out. And, really liked it, actually. So it's basically like, him doing stand-up, but he's telling a bunch of stories about, before Seinfeld got big and all this, and how he started his career. And, it's all these cool details and intricate things about how he does his stand-up. And, he has all these notes of jokes, and any joke that he told that made the crowd laugh, he'd put in a binder, and so he knows, hey, that's a good joke, it makes people laugh. And anything that didn't work, he'd just toss out immediately. And it's just really cool, to see how he does that. It's just really cool to see how he does that and sets everything up, and how he got into stand-up and everything. He tells stories about that, tells about his family and all this. It's a pretty cool show, and I definitely highly recommend it. If you're a fan of stand-up specials or Jerry Seinfeld or anything like that, definitely check this one out. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. Definitely highly recommend this one. It was very, very funny. I really liked it. Next up, got Haters Back Off Season 2, poster right here. Now, I watched Haters Back Off Season 1, I think it was last year when it debuted. Maybe it was even earlier this year. I'm not sure when it came out. But it was definitely before this channel was around, so can't review that one. But watched Season 2, and, I really like this show. It's about Miranda Sings. She's a YouTuber, fellow YouTuber like myself. But I've never seen any of her YouTube videos. Didn't even know who she was before the show. Still haven't watched any of her YouTube videos. I just have no interest. I can just watch the show, But it's basically like she plays a character named Miranda who's terrible at everything. Like, she has this really annoying voice. She talks like this. And she kind of reminds me a little bit of Fran Drescher with just how she talks. It's very annoying. But, she says that she's a 5-star actress because she can act, she can dance, she can sing, she can model, and she's a magician also. So it's like these things that she thinks she's just amazing at, and she can't do anything. And Angela Kinsley from The Office plays her mom. Steve Little, who's known from Eastbound and Down, he plays her Uncle Jim, who's just so fucking out of it, where he's just like, goes out of his way to compliment Miranda in every single way. And it's just so outrageous, because it's just these plans that they come up with to get her famous. It's just outlandish and ridiculous, and I really like that about the show. Matt Besser joined the cast for Season 2, playing Miranda's dad, who kind of, he left them at a young age, and now he's kind of coming back into their lives, trying to make money off them, trying to exploit the family in any way he can. He ends up taking, Miranda to Hollywood, or maybe it's in New York for Broadway. I think it's New York, sorry. And, you know, tries to get her own show and stuff and get an agent. And it's just this, all these outlandish, really ridiculous things that happens to these characters. I definitely recommend this show, though. Even if you're not a fan of Miranda on YouTube or anything, definitely check this one out. If you haven't seen season 1, go back, watch that, and then watch season 2. Because I really do think this show is pretty, it's pretty great. You know, it's a really oddball thing for a show, and really weird, but I really do enjoy this show. And I'm really excited for season 3. Next up, I got Without a Paddle, Nature's Calling. This movie, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Now, you know I've watched some shitty movies. I've reviewed Chihuahua the movie. Trying to think of some other really shitty ones I've reviewed. Can't think off the top of my head. I watch a lot of shitty movies. This one definitely is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's right up there with Chihuahua the movie. It's up there with The Gun in Betty Lou's Handbag. This is garbage, you know? Had this one on DVD, never watched it. I got some free Amazon gift cards from Volcano. It's a website basically where you watch movie trailers and you get paid Amazon gift cards. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to check it out. It's a pretty cool website. Like I said, you just watch movie trailers and stuff and you get paid in Amazon gift cards. It's pretty great. But so I got some free gift cards from them. So I was like, this was like $5 on Amazon. So I was like, shit, just upgrade it. Why not? But as a huge fan of the first Without a Paddle, which I know is not a very, you know, well-liked movie. It's I got like 14% on Rotten Tomatoes or something. But I absolutely love that movie since the first time I've seen it. My whole family loves that movie. My mom, who absolutely hates comedy movies and like stupid things like that, she loves this movie. It's one of her favorite movies of all time. But this movie, the sequel, Bella, you walk on everything. But this one, the sequel to Without a Paddle, is just, it's trash. It's honestly trash. So basically, these two guys are lifelong friends. You know, they went to school together as kids. This guy basically had a crush on this girl who's like an environmentalist and all about saving the animals and stuff. Like, she lets a bunch of frogs out of her classroom so they're not dissected. And he, you know, wears a shirt that says "Meat is murder." He's gonna show off to her and all this. And, you know, it's his first love and all this. And she ends up getting kicked out of school, and he never sees her again. They're grown up. He's now a nurse who's taking care of elderly people, and he's really good friends with this old lady who's, I think her nephew is this British guy, and he's now like a lawyer who's like always swamped in like paperwork, so he never wants to hang out with him anymore. He ditches his calls and stuff like that. Well, anyway, the old lady's dying, and she says she has one last wish to see her her niece or her granddaughter, maybe, I'm not sure. And so it turns out to be the chick that they went to school with back in the day. So, you know, he convinces him to go along with it. The British guy ends up going with him. And so basically they go into the woods on a river to go find the treehouse that she lives in, because she lives in the woods and ran away. So it's basically like a scene-for-scene remake of the first, but it's passed off as a sequel. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if you've ever seen the first one, you know Bart the bear. He's the bear that terrorizes the group in the first one. You know, in this, instead of a bear, they have these CGI squirrels that like drink beer and attack them and kick them in the balls and shit. Absolutely stupid. Just, it looks so fake and so just, it's terrible. It's like not even funny. None of the jokes in this movie even are like, they don't make you laugh at all. Like, this is a really terrible movie. Anyway, even the two girls in this are basically almost the same characters from the first. You know, there's even a scene where some guys are chasing after them with guns, just like the first movie. And they're flinging bags of poop out of their treehouse at them. It's just like everything that made the first one funny and great, they just copied in this one and made it shit. Like, it just ruins it for me. And like I said, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like I said, my parents love this movie. I even told them I watched this. They didn't even know there was a sequel, and I was like, don't even bother. I was like, you just keep it out of your mind, because this is just absolute trash. Absolute trash. Do not watch this if you've ever seen the first Without a Paddle. Just skip this. It doesn't exist. Doesn't exist, alright? Alright, next up, I got Dredd. This is a movie that I remember when this came out, I saw the trailers, and I've always wanted to see this. Oh, and I have a digital code, but it expired in 2014. Sorry about that. I would have given it out. Oh well, can't do that. But, so this is a movie I've been meaning to get around to watching for the longest time. Just never, I don't know, I never got around to it. Finally did though, and this was incredible. I cannot say it enough. Like, so when this started, I was, in my mind, I was like, I'm expecting this to be very violent and gory, lots of blood splattering, all this, and it was exactly what I wanted. So basically, Dredd, if you don't know, this is based on a Marvel comic book series, where basically it's about Judge Dredd. It's like in a dystopian future where judges, they're called judges, they're like the police of the future. Basically, they're judge, jury, and executioner. So, if you're doing a pretty bad crime, they kill you on the spot. Like, if you're dealing drugs, or raping someone, or killing someone, they, boom, shoot you, you're dead. But, so, there's like this cell block that's run by this chick who's, like dealing drugs and, dealing arms and stuff. Guns. But, and none of the judges really patrol this area. So Judge Dredd, he goes in there, to clean up, or I think to report a crime, and then she shuts down the building, locks it completely from the inside. It's almost like the Belko experiment where all the walls come down. And he's training a rookie cop, or a rookie judge who has like telepathy, I think. But, so they get basically locked in, and the lady comes over the intercom, is like, there's 2 judges in the building, kill them, and, I'll pay you or whatever. So it's basically like this whole movie is just them going level through this building, killing everybody. I mean, it's like, poof, blood all over the camera, blood spraying this way, tons of blood and gore. It's absolutely great, so violent, so gory, so bloody. I absolutely loved it. I'm not big on like super like nasty horror films or like super scary horror films, but what I do look for is I like lots of blood, lots of gore. I don't know why, I just love splattering. But this was everything I expected it to be, and I absolutely loved this. This is one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. If you count it as a superhero movie, I count it as more like an action horror thriller, maybe, I don't know. But this was incredible. It's Carl Urban as Dredd, and the rookie cop that he's with is Olivia Thirlby. Yeah, it's from 2012, by the way. And I don't have the slipcover for this. When I bought it, it didn't come with it. I know it has a slipcover, I just didn't get it. It sucks. But this, I cannot say enough how much I like this. Like, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. This was incredible. It's one of those movies that, when you watch it, it just rolls around in your head for a while, and you just keep replaying, and you're like, I just can't get enough. I love this so much. It was great. 2 thumbs. Way up. Next up is another Netflix original, poster right here, and it's The Babysitter. This one was directed by McG, I think is how you pronounce his name. McG, just MCG, McG. Don't know the cast. I should have looked up. I know Robbie Amell is in it, and Alison Brie, I think, is the main character. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll put her name right here. But anyways, so basically it's about this 12-year-old kid, Cole, who, he's kind of like scared of everything. He's kind of a wimp. He gets bullied a lot by kids. He doesn't stand up for himself, things like that. And, he's the only kid in school that still has a babysitter. But he's cool with it because his babysitter's like super hot. And his parents, played by Leslie Bibb and Ken Marino, who I'm a huge fan of Ken Marino. I think that guy's fucking hilarious. But, so, they're basically going away for the weekend, and they call the babysitter. She's going to come over, babysit Cole. And so, they got a pretty good relationship. They always talk about things and play games and stuff. And, she gives him basically a sip of alcohol. She's like, here, this will knock you right out. You can go to sleep. And his friend that he rides the school bus with, her name's slipping me, but she's like, oh, you should stay up late and see what the babysitter does after you go to sleep. They could be having an orgy or something, or like inviting people over and stuff. And so he's like, yeah, I'll totally do that. So she invites a bunch of friends over, and so he, sneaks out to watch, and they're playing Spin the Bottle, and basically the babysitter ends up having to kiss this, like, nerdy guy, And as she's kissing him, she pulls out 2 knives and stabs him twice in the fucking head. Blood is like, wow. And it basically turns out she's part of a cult who needs the blood of an innocent and it's the blood of an innocent mixed with the blood of something else, and they're gonna like drink it, and Satan's gonna grant them like, all this crazy stuff. It's ridiculous, but it's pretty funny. There's like a scene where they pull the knife out of the guy's head and it just sprays all over this other guy, just tons of blood, and it's like a running gag in the movie where this guy keeps getting just splattered with blood all over his face and stuff. It's pretty funny, but this movie kind of reminded me a lot of like almost like a Scream type movie, where it's a horror, but it's also really funny. That's how I look at Scream, where it's like a horror comedy. But this one was really great. And so basically, it's like Cole, finding out that they're killing people. So he calls the cops. Cops show up, and they end up killing the cops, and it's just this whole ordeal, this whole rigmarole, if you will, where just they basically find out that Cole saw them kill all these people, and they got to get rid of Cole, and they're going to steal his blood as the blood of the innocent. And, he's basically got to fight back against these people. And just a really crazy, crazy movie, but it was so good. If you have Netflix, definitely check this one out. I highly recommend it. It was really good, really gory. I just said I really like gory, bloody movies. This definitely had a lot of blood in it. Robbie Amell was in it. If you know, he started in The Flash as Firestorm. I think his character got killed off. I stopped watching The Flash after season 1. Just didn't really care for the storylines going forward. But yeah, that's where he's most well known for. He's the cousin of... can't remember the actor's name. Stephen Amell, who plays Green Arrow in Arrow. But yeah, he was also in this movie, and he was a pretty funny character in this. But definitely check this one out if you're into horror, because this was a really great movie. Next up, got Need for Speed with Aaron Paul, Dominic Cooper, and Kid Cudi. And also, Rami Malek is in this. Michael Keaton is in this. Just tons of people are in this movie. It's great. But I know this one doesn't have very good reviews. I think it has like a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not a huge following. But I really liked this movie. I thought it was pretty well done. Basically, the plot was like, Aaron Paul's character, Toby Marshall, he's always had this feud with Dominic Cooper's character, because Dominic Cooper and him are both race car drivers, and everybody knows that Aaron Paul is a better race car driver than Dominic Cooper's character. But Dominic Cooper, went pro, and he was like racing Indian stuff. Well, he challenges him to a race. They race these super expensive cars that are like legal in America. They go like 270 miles per hour or something like that. So he ends up winning the race and beats Dominic Cooper. So Dominic Cooper ends up like killing his best friend. He like swerves his car out of the way, kills him in a fiery crash. So basically he gets framed, goes to prison for a few years, and then once he gets out, he's out for revenge. Immediately, he's still on probation, everything. Immediately, he goes to join this race. Basically, it's like an illegal street race cross country, kind of like Cannonball Run. It's run by Michael Keaton, who's this eccentric, like ex-race car driver. And, he's got this whole team, like Rami Malek is on his team, Ramon Rodriguez, Kid Cudi, they're all on his team, and, basically it's them, like having to help him win this race, to frame, or basically to prove his innocence and get Dominic Cooper put away in prison for the murder of his friend. I don't know, I really liked this movie. I don't know why it got so bad of reviews. Like, people love the Fast and Furious movies, and I can't stand those. Yet I really enjoyed this one. I hope they make a sequel to it. Especially in this, they didn't use any CGI for all the racing and car stunts, whereas the Fast and Furious use a lot of CGI for the car stuff. This one was all done with practical effects. The entire cast went and took driving lessons to be able to do all the stunts in this movie. And it's just really well done. You can definitely tell how real it is watching it, because there's all the car scenes are 100% real, whereas like I said, the Fast and Furious are a lot of CGI and just crazy stuff. This is more grounded, more realistic, and I really enjoyed this movie. Would love a sequel. Sadly, I don't think it's going to happen with how poorly this one was received, but you never know. I mean, they make sequels to shitty films all the time, so I mean, look at Batman v Superman. So next up, got Big Mouth Season 1, a Netflix original show created by Nick Kroll. Poster right here. But yeah, so this show, it's an animated show developed by Nick Kroll, and it's a Netflix original, and it's basically about, the entire premise of the show is just about teenagers masturbating and going through puberty and, you know, learning about their sexuality and stuff. And, like, the one character has a hormone monster who shows up and just wants to fuck everything. Like, he's putting, like, his dick into, like, fruits, and he cuts a hole in the drywall and fucks the drywall, and it's absolutely just, it's crazy, ridiculous, totally balls to the wall, just crazy and funny. And I really enjoyed the show, you know. Like, I watched the first episode and wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, and I really did like it. It's absolutely just hilarious, and yeah, this show is just, it's outlandish, it's very, very funny. And, like, there's this one character who is in a relationship with his pillow, and he fucks his pillow all the time, and his pillow ends up being pregnant, and just this crazy, crazy stuff about masturbating, and it's so funny. And, you know, like, if you're a dude, you'll definitely like this show, because it's totally, like, going through, you know, like, middle school again. It's absolutely ridiculous, too. You know, like, they're learning about porn, and they watch Sylvester Stallone's, you know, softcore porno that he did in, like, the 70s or whatever. And then there's one character who just gets, like, addicted to porn, and he spends, like, just hours and hours and hours watching porn and watching all this crazy stuff, like old people BDSM and weird just stuff like that. And it's a really trippy show, really funny, though. You should definitely check it out on Netflix if you have it. Next up, got They Came Together. He came, she came, they both came. This was an absolutely just hilarious movie. I watched this with Lex. He had seen it before, and he really told me I needed to see it. He said it was absolutely funny. And the funny thing is, he watched it one night, and then literally the next night, he's like, hey, you need to watch this with me. So I was like, sure, and then we watched it, and it's just hilarious. It's got a huge cast, too. It's directed by David Wayne, who's famous for Wet Hot American Summer. He also directed Role Models. It's got Paul Rudd, Amy Poehler, Colby Smulders, Christopher Maloney, Max Greenfield, Bill Hader, Ellie Kemper, Jason Mantzoukas, Ed Helms. It's got Kenan Thompson, Jack McBrayer. I said Bill Hader, yeah, Ellie Kemper, okay. So just tons and tons of people. Christopher Maloney especially is hilarious in this movie. But so basically, it's about Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler. Their characters are having dinner with Bill Hader and Ellie Kemper. And they're like, oh, you know, how'd you guys meet? And he's like, oh, you know, our story's like a quirky romantic comedy movie. And they're like, oh, tell the story. So, you know, they tell the whole story about how they met and all this. And it's basically, you know, a romantic comedy. So this movie basically is just a parody of romantic comedies and everything you see in romantic comedies. And it's absolutely hilarious. There's especially this one scene where they're at like a Halloween party and they're all wearing a costume. And Christopher Maloney, who's Paul Rudd's boss in the movie, he shows up in like a superhero outfit, and he really has to take a dump, so he goes into the bathroom, and he can't get his suit off, so he ends up shitting his pants, and then, you know, he comes back out in the party wearing a robe and like a shower cap and stuff, and someone else goes in the bathroom and comes out, and they're like, hey, why is your suit in the bathroom with shit in it? And he's like, I have no idea. He's like, I don't wear that suit anymore. He's like, I took it off. I'm shower robe guy now. And they're like, well, you obviously shit in your suit, your costume, and then took a shower and then left your shitty clothes on the floor so that nobody would know it was you. And he's like, no, that's definitely not me. He's like, I'm absolutely disgusted with you people. You know, you're sick, and I can't believe you'd violate me like this. And somebody put my suit on and shit in it, and I just can't believe it. And he ends up leaving. And right after he leaves, Jason Mantzoukas looks up and goes, I wonder who did it. You know? It's just so ridiculous, but it's absolutely funny. There's another scene where Amy Poehler's like rambling about something, and Paul Rudd just goes, what the fuck are you saying? It's so funny. And then he's like, there's a part where he's talking about fucking her mom, and he's like, I want to fuck your mom. But such an absolute, just ridiculous movie, but it's so funny. This this is definitely a movie I highly recommend you go check this out. Like, I'd put this at the top of your list. It's so funny and so original, and so creative. Just, it was written by Michael Showalter and David Wayne. Just a great tag team writing duo. Like I said, they both worked on The State, Wet Hot American Summer, things like that. But definitely check this one out. I really enjoyed it. All right, I got 2 more movies to talk about for you. This next one, it's a movie that I never wanted to see. I never wanted to see this movie. But I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm going to get to it eventually. I know I'm going to have to see it. I don't want to see it, But it's one of those, I had to see it. And it's Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Yeah, finally watched it. And yes, I did watch the Ultimate Edition. 3 hours and 4 minutes. Yeah. So, this movie is utter trash. It's really bad. It's got really bad reviews, like 26% or something. But I've heard people say, "Oh, you watch the Ultimate Edition; it's even better. It's better." It wasn't, though. It really wasn't. I mean, I haven't seen the theatrical, so I have no comparison. But it wasn't good. Like, it was 3 hours and 4 minutes long. That's a ridiculous length for a movie. Like, that's so long. It's mind-blowing. I started this movie at 1:30 in the morning. Didn't get done until like 4:30. Like, that's fucking a long time. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I can't stand Ben Affleck as Batman. I really can't. He's not Batman to me, I can't stand it. So every scene with him is just like, I had no interest in it. They really shoehorned Wonder Woman into this movie too. She didn't really fit. They could have just saved her for the Wonder Woman movie, which I still haven't seen yet. I'll get around to that, because I've heard that one's really good. But, they had no reason to bring her in this movie. And then Lex Luthor, who's played by Jesse Eisenberg, he was playing Lex as basically like the Riddler. He's just this crazy, wacky, zany character where he's like, whoa! He's got long hair, and he's like, whoa! And it's so dumb. So dumb. And it's so dark and just boring. Like, it's not even an interesting movie. It's just boring. It's long, it's boring, it's bad. The action scenes, I didn't think they were very well done. Everything's so dark, you can't even tell. That's Zack Snyder's specialty, is dark movies where you can't tell what the fuck's going on with your action. And, like, Superman's so emo in this, where he's like, oh, I gotta save the world, but I don't really want to, and oh, geez, everything's on my shoulders. I always gotta do everything. It's like, shut the fuck up, Superman. You don't do anything. You don't save people. You ruin Metropolis, the city you supposedly love. Kills just random people. It's so stupid. God, I hated it. There's no reason Batman and Superman should even have fought. Like, it's basically like the reason they fight is Batman. He thinks Superman could be a danger and a threat to the world because he's an alien. He can't be stopped. Lex Luthor kind of pins them against each other, and he's like, "Oh, you could get rid of Superman if you just do this." But it's just so ridiculous. Also, I don't have the slipcover for this. I should have mentioned that. But just such a dumb movie. And then he creates Doomsday as a clone of him and Superman, with his blood and Superman's blood, or maybe he used the body of General Zod and then he mixed with his blood to make Doomsday, and it's so goddamn terrible. Like, Doomsday is supposed to be just the most powerful villain in the DC universe, besides like Darkseid and all the cosmic beings. But like, Doomsday came to Earth, or he was cloned, I guess, in Superman 75, the death of Superman. He comes, he's basically like just fucking kicking the shit out of Superman and stuff, and ends up killing Superman. And they did this in this movie after, Batman and Superman fought, and the whole Martha scene, I won't even get into that, where it's like, Martha, why would you say that name? God, it's so terrible. But, yeah, so, I have nothing good to say about this. Nothing. I did not like it. And there's no reason Doomsday should have even been in this movie. He brought nothing to it. Yeah, and the fight scene between Superman and Doomsday is so weak and just boring. Like, nothing about the action was good in this. And, like, Batman made, like, a sword out of kryptonite or, like, a spear or something. And Superman ends up getting impaled, like, with the kryptonite. Basically, like, flies Doomsday out to space before Superman finally dies because of the kryptonite, which you know he's going to be back in Justice League because it's, like, at the end of the movie, they show Superman's grave, and the soil on top shakes because it's like, oh, Superman's back. They couldn't leave him die. You know, I really liked Man of Steel. Like, I thought Man of Steel was a really well done movie. Really liked that take on Superman. But in this one, it's like he's just so emo and just sad. And he's like, oh, I gotta save the world, and you know, like all that. And Batman's just so angry, and he's not even angry for the right reason. He's just like, oh, and Batman kills so many people. He's like blowing people up and shooting people, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Just nothing about this movie is good, and it really makes me not want to see Justice League. And that's pretty sad. Nothing good to say about it. Oh well. And finally, last up, this is another Netflix original movie. It's poster right here, and it's Little Evil starring Adam Scott. And this movie was really good, like really, really good. So it's basically like Adam Scott gets married to this girl who has a daughter, or this woman who has a son. Sorry, I've been up for a really long time. I only got like an hour and a half sleep last night, so you know, I'm really going through it. But so Adam Scott marries this woman who has a son, and basically the son just is really awkward and weird and quirky, and he doesn't talk a lot. He's really quiet, and he really doesn't like Adam Scott's character. And Adam Scott basically finds out like he's the son of Satan, and he's trying to kill him. So all these really crazy, just outlandish things start happening to Adam Scott, and he's, you know, almost dies in a few ways, and he ends up, you know, having to you know, talk to the kid, and he's like, oh, you know, he takes him out on like for a day, and they spend time together, and he's gonna kill the kid because he's spawned Satan, and then, you know, he ends up saving the kid, and it turns out that the kid's dad is Satan, and you know, he impregnated her mom, and just this really crazy story. But you know, I don't want to give too much of the plot away. But it was really, really good. It was like a horror comedy. Really, really funny movie. And I don't know. I got a lot. I don't have a lot to say about this, but I really did enjoy it. I thought it was really well done. Don't know who it was directed by. I'll put the guy's name right here. But yeah, I don't know what it was about this movie. It was really good. Yeah, I don't know what it was about this movie. It was really, really good. And I don't know. I really like Adam Scott and things. You know, he's Derek in Step Brothers, which is my favorite movie of all time. He's done tons and tons of stuff. He was Ben Wyatt on Parks and Rec. Really liked him in this movie. He was really funny. He was playing like a mix between Derek and Ben Wyatt, and I thought that was pretty funny. It's like two characters kind of mashed together. But everything about this movie was really, really good, and I just really thoroughly enjoyed it. So definitely check this one out if you have Netflix. This one's really good. Not super violent or anything, not even that scary. There's a couple jump scares here and there, but it's really funny though. But yeah, it's a really funny movie, especially some of the gags that they do in it, and the whole scene where they're at the water park is really funny. So definitely check this one out. I give it 2 thumbs up. Alright, yeah, as always, I'm Bat Tracy for Would You Spend a Day with Tim Allen WYSADWTA. Another episode of First Time Views and Reviews. I don't even know what number this is. It's like 14, maybe 13 or 14. Don't really know for sure. But yeah, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Definitely gives me a thumbs up down below. It just, you know, it helps us make content. You know, if you guys like this, you know, thumbs up. Always subscribe. We got almost daily content here at WYSADWTA. Got tons of gaming videos, movie reviews, all kinds of stuff. Pat does CD collection updates. Me and Lex have been doing WWE 2K18 gameplay, you know, where we have our own promotion and doing booking cards and stuff. It's been a lot of fun. We've been really enjoying it. So check those out if you're into WWE or gaming. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at BatTracy01. It's right there. It's also my Instagram and basically everything. You want to add me on Snapchat even, BatTracy01. Boom, right there. You can find me on anything. You can follow us on Instagram at Would You Spend a Day with Tim Allen. Follow us on Twitter at WYSADWTA. And check out our website, wouldyouspenddaywithtimallen.com. And yeah, that's all, folks. Bye-bye. Cue the music. So first up I got I Am Number 4. Now this is a movie that Lex has... God damn it, Bella.